Okay, so welcome to Empowered Elite's team call for January 11th of 2017. I don't know about you guys, but I just love the excitement and the fresh energy heading into a new year, knowing what is possible to happen in a year. Because in, the grand scheme of life, a year seems like nothing, but really you can drastically change so many things over the course of a year. So I really, I wanted to talk tonight about something that I know for me has been absolutely 100% like critical and crucial to me being able to continue on the way that I have for 3 years, because without a vision, it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't have a vision, you have no way to strategically plan your goals to move towards that. And if you don't have a destination that you're working towards, then you have no direction of how to get there, right? Does that make sense? So that's kind of what we're going to be chit-chatting about tonight. And before we get really started, does anybody have any recognition or shout outs that they want to do for last week? I know I have to shout out Megan Levine. I don't know if she's on, but she is a brand new Emerald coach and locked in her first month of Success Starters. So huge congrats to you, Megan. I don't see you on though, but we're celebrating you anyways.
I have a new Emerald for tomorrow.
Go ahead, shout it out.
Yay, Glenna Terwilliger. She I don't know if she's on right now, but she just signed up another person tonight, so she'll be officially a Emerald tomorrow.
Awesome, congrats. Yay. Anybody else? No? Okay. All right. Okay, so Declan is laying in the other room, so we're just going to pray that he cooperates. He hasn't fallen asleep yet. So I wrote down a few things that I just kind of want to prompt you guys to think about, and some questions to kind of get your gears grinding in case creating a vision for yourself and your life, and kind of aligning that with your goals, your life goals and your business goals, if that's something that you've never really thought much about yet. And he's screaming, so hold on 2 seconds. All three of yours are awake. Yes, babe. Okay. All right, so like I was saying, the importance of creating a vision, and I'll just kind of talk to you guys about why I was thinking about this. And it's because when I was a new coach, I don't remember what training it was that I was in where we were prompted to create a vision board. I feel like it might have been our Emerald to Diamond training. And like, creating a vision and a vision board was so far-fetched to me, because I had never done something like that in my life. Like, I had never sat down and thought, where do I actually want to see my life go? Like, what would my ideal life look like? And it was like a really hard thing to wrap my head around, because it requires you taking ownership of the fact that you're the one that creates where you're going. Like, you have this one wildly precious life to live, and what do you really want to do with it? Like, how do you want to spend your days? How do you, want to spend time with your family? Like, what do you want to do in your life? What does that look like for you? And so I sat down with a big poster board, and I cut out some clip outs from magazines, and I printed some things out, and I put this all on this board. And it was a board that I put next to my work area as a new coach that first year. And a lot of those things, I want to remind you guys that when you're thinking in terms of creating a vision for yourself in your life, that you have to remember that you have to push out all of those self-doubts and those insecurities and those fears and those feelings of like, I don't deserve that, or I can't accomplish that, or that just seems impossible, or it's because you're dreaming wildly and ridiculously big for yourself when you're making a vision board, because this is literally, if you could have the life that you desire to have, what would that look like for you? So I pulled my old vision board out just to kind of give you guys an idea. And there's like a big, huge blank space in the middle, because I knew as I grew and as my vision changed, I would add to it, but I actually ended up making a new one this year. So this was my original vision board, if you guys can see it. And I had a lot of things on here in terms of, you know, being home and being present with Declan, and having, you know, the freedom to be present in his life as a single mom, because that was something that was so heavy on my heart, about creating a home for us, about building an elite team of people that wanted to empower others just like I did, having that purpose. There's, you know, all except for 3 things on that board have come true from 3 years ago. And so that is why I really felt compelled to kind of do this with you guys tonight, because you have a fresh year in front of you. You literally have 12 months where you can absolutely transform where you end up at the end of this year, have a direction of where you're going and why it's so important for you to get there. And the reasoning is for that is because if you have goals, you have goals. That's great, right? Everybody should have some kind of a goal. But when life gets hard or things get challenging, or you're struggling, you're going to miss a goal, or you fall flat on your face and you fail, or something doesn't go as planned, you need something that you have emotionally to fall back on to remind you why it is important to you, and why you're going to show up every day, and why no matter what, how long it takes you to get there, you know that vision that you have for your life, and that is what you can always go back to in those moments of doubt and struggle, to really, you know, get yourself reconnected with your why and your purpose. So I wanted to start with saying that it's important when you're thinking in terms of a vision to have kind of a time frame, because if you don't have a time frame, you're not going to have any sense of urgency to get there, right? If you're just like, oh, like one day I want to buy a house, but you don't have any kind of a deadline of when you want to buy a home for yourself, you're not going to have any sense of urgency to design goals to get yourself to that, right? So when you're thinking about this vision for yourself, I want you to think of a timeline, not just realistic because you don't want to kill yourself, but also
can you just have everyone go on mute?
You towards those goals and towards, you know, finding your potential so that you can grow into somebody that is accomplishing the goals that are actually going to get you to those bigger pieces of your vision, right? So we're going to start with when you sit down to think about this vision board that you're going to create. And I really would love if when you guys do this, that you share it in the team page. I'm going to put up a post tomorrow, and as you get them done, you can just share it in the comments. But eliminate your self-doubts and eliminate your fears, and just, if you need to, sit in quiet or put on music. Just get in a really good place when you're sitting down to think about this vision board, and allow yourself to dream wildly big for your life. And so when you're doing this, I wrote down some questions that you might want to write down or ask yourself when you're doing this, so that you really can kind of cover all of the bases of what you should be putting on your vision board. Oh, you're fine. Okay, so I want you to think about, what is your mission? What is your mission for this business? And that's going to look a little bit different for every single person, but empower. Empower was my word, always has been from the get-go, as a mission. And empower encompasses so many things for me. So it can be a word, it can be a sentence, it can be a feeling, but you need to be clear on what it is that your mission is as a coach. And then I want you to take that one step further, and I want you to think about 2 different aspects of that mission. What is your mission as a coach, and what is your mission going to be as a leader? Because it's, you know, 2 different aspects when you're coaching challengers versus when you're leading a team. and you're mentoring people. It's a little bit different of a scenario. So what is your mission in terms of being a coach and in terms of being a leader? The second part is, what kind of impact do you desire to make? And then the next ones are things that I want you to think about in terms of just your life in general. And these can be business and or life type goals. But if you were thinking in terms of your vision and your ideal of what you want to put on this board, what would your daily life look like? How does it feel to you if that is what your life is? How do you spend your time? Who do you spend your time with? What do you do with your time in that day? You know, do you travel? Are you spending time with your kids? Are you spending time doing mission work or charity work? You know, are you traveling the world to see all of these fabulous places? And for some of you, you might think that's ridiculous to think about these kinds of things. But if these are things that you have ever had in the back of your mind, like, wow, wouldn't that be really cool if I could do that? Put that on your vision board. So I'm going to show you, because we actually did this at our Aspire Nation leadership retreat, and it's something that I wanted to share with you guys because I feel like it might be helpful to you to actually see how you can put things on a vision board, you know, in all aspects of your life, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, you know, physical goals that you have for your transformation or goals that you have for your family, and put all of those things on there so that when you look at it every day, it hits you in the heart where it really matters most, and it reminds you why you show up every single day. So mine isn't fully finished because we only had a couple hours at our retreat, but I have up in this top corner here, if you guys can see, I have for us to be a 3-time elite team up in the corner. My goals by the end of this year is to have a 10-star diamond team in my first business center, to have a 5-star team in my second business center, to have at least 2, now that Jordan told me 3, to help 3 of my coaches get to elite this year. And once I do all of my one-on-one calls with my coaches, I'm going to be adjusting this part of this depending on what they want to do. I also have on here that I want to help 5 of my coaches get to 2-star and new leadership conference. I have on here things like complete 180 on the ordinary, no limits, extraordinary, heart, be brave, connect, lead. I resonate a lot with words, sometimes more so than I do pictures. So it's you know, if there's words that stick out to you that make you feel compelled or compassionate or motivated, put those words on there too. Attract like a magnet, as a reminder to continue to be authentic and be real and show who I am, because when you are authentic, you are going to attract those types of people to you, and to always continue to grow. Action always beats intention. So to remind myself to always be intentional with my choices and my habits and my goals and in the way that I serve people. I have down here a lot more words, if you guys can see, that are really meaningful to me. Down in the right corner, you know, kind of on the flip side of achieving and goals, I have bliss, I have Earth Girl, you know, wanting to be out in nature, spend time with my son, to travel more. I have on here a picture of Declan and I, and underneath it, it says, never miss out on anything. Because for me, one of the biggest, you know, reasons why I pushed to be full-time is to be home with him and not miss out on his school trips and his school events and going to see him sing and things like that, that, as a single mom, if I didn't chase this life, would probably not have been possible for us. I have a home on here. That's one of the things on my first vision board that has yet to happen, but it is a goal. Um, and I have love on here. Love. That's never been on my vision board before, and that's a personal thing. But I'm just saying that your vision board, oh, and I also have charity here in the middle, and I can explain that a little more too. But I want you, when you think about this vision board, to really think not just in terms of your goals for this business and your personal goals, but your goals for your family and your children, and your lives with your husbands, and the things that you do that bring you joy. Because when you're starting to think about creating your goals, you want to make sure that they're aligning with your priorities and aligning with that bigger vision for yourself. So quickly before I move on, that thing I have on there about charity, it has been on my heart for a long time, going through what I have as a single mom, to feel compelled to help women that were once where I was, struggling to start their lives all over again. And so I have charity on there because I know that the more time and financial freedom that I have, the more that I will be able to give back and serve in instances like that. So, put anything that means something to you on these vision boards. And it should be something that when you look at this, it makes you feel all kinds of warm and fuzzy and scared and excited about these things that are possible for your life. So for me, if you notice, have a lot of things on there this year in terms of this team. And of the coaches on this team, because I feel more so compelled than ever to, help everybody on this team get to those places in your life where things are drastically starting to change for you, as they have for me, because that is a feeling that I want you guys to experience for yourselves. And I know that if you get clear on these visions for yourself, and I can help you break those down into goals of actually achieving those, that would make my heart happier than anything. So that's why we're talking about this tonight. So furthermore, beyond that, I just want to kind of break down, because often people ask, like, I don't get the difference between having a why and having a vision. Because a lot of, like, you hear all the time, we say, especially in like new coach training and Emerald to Diamond type trainings, we always say, like, you need to have a why, you need to have a why. Even with your challengers, we say that. So I want you to think about your why is what you're doing. Like, your why is your purpose. So, my why is my mission of serving others and empowering others, right? And your goals are what help you fulfill that why. But your vision is what's going to drive you to show up, to make the sacrifices, to put in the time, to be consistent, to show up when it's not easy. Because if you don't have something that is connecting you to what you're moving forward towards with these goals, you can get kind of lost or sidetracked or lose motivation, right? Can anybody relate to that? Yes. Okay, so does this make sense to you guys? Is this helpful? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so in terms of actually like breaking this down into goals for yourself, I think that this is something I'm going to be doing with my personally sponsored coaches one-on-one this week. So I would encourage you to schedule a call with your upline coach to really share what that vision of yours is and things that you really want to do to help you set some benchmark goals to actually achieve those things. But what I wanted to do first, because I think it's really powerful when you start to share these things, is just right off the top of your head, with hearing what I've just said and the questions that I asked you guys, if you would be so courageous as to share just an example of 3 things that you're going to be putting on your vision board in the comments of the post, in the comments of this video. Don't everybody jump all at once. Love it. Nice, Kelly. That's powerful. Powerful. Sorry. Love it. Yes, Jen, you need to be at Summit.
Kelly, those are my goals. Did you just steal them off my paper?
Sorry. We can be the same. It's okay.
We're going to go together to New Leadership.
Okay. Well, see, then it is. I should just add your name.
I'm screenshotting these. Travel, home on the water, be home with your kids. Love it. Hitting Success Club 6, yes. I love that, Ashley. A little more disconnect time. Melissa, I'm just going to say right now, you don't need to be an elusive ruby. You can go for diamond. If you can hit Success Club 3 months consecutively and help two people, you can hit diamond. You're capable. Yes, love it, Nikki. We're going to break down part-time at your job on your call. Kim, the way you're running, that's definitely possible. You just got to put a date to it so you have a sense of urgency. I love these. They make me excited. Okay, so I want to, hold on, there's one more. I think that's you, Jordan, isn't it? It says iPhone.
I'm still typing mine.
Big goals. I love it. I'm screenshotting all of these so I can remind you guys when you need it. Okay. So I wanted to actually now kind of break down, and this is something that I actually did the other day on a mastermind call with a bunch of fellow 6 to 8 star diamond coaches, because I think it's a really great thing to do, and it's something that I've kind of quietly done personally, and I guess I'm doing a lot of reflection personally, and I realize that how much even more so that I need to share with you guys how I break down things, like how I reevaluate things, how I reflect on things so that I can actually move towards achieving them. So I really want to help you learn how to set goals and break them down into smaller increments to where they're actually bite-sized and achievable. But the first thing that I want to say, and a lot of people probably aren't going to love this, but I'm going to tell you that if you are actually going to drive towards what is on your vision, that it's not always going to be easy. And it is going to take hustle, and it is going to take hard work, and it's going to take intention, and it's going to take a lot of personal growth. Personal growth more so probably than anything else. Because I know that when I think about where I was as a newer coach and the goals that I set then, it was like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the 21 Laws of Irrefutable Leadership, but that's a really great book. There is a workbook edition of that, and if you desire to grow into a leader, that is definitely a must read. But there is a chapter in there that's called the Law of the Lid, and it is basically saying that if you do not continue to grow, that you're putting a lid on the cap of your potential, and therefore you're putting a lid on the potential of everybody that you're leading. So it is important no matter where you are at, because I, even personally 3 years in now, feel like on the daily basis I'm growing more so than I ever have before, because my mindset is different. The way that I think is different. The things that I've learned in the past 3 years have changed me very much so as a person, and I'm a lot more, honest with myself and reflective in the areas that I need to grow in. So I just want to prompt you guys that you have to remind yourself that you need to grow into somebody that is capable of achieving things. And don't take that as a like, oh shit, I'm not good enough right now to do this, because that's not true at all. But it's one of those things, just like with a fitness journey. If you start and you have 50 pounds to lose, like you can't see the end goal yet, right? But if you continue to show up every day and you chip away a little bit at it, you chip away at those excuses and you start to change your habits, those things that once seemed so insurmountable and so impossible start to become possible, because you're growing into somebody that can achieve that, right? So it's the same thing with your business goals. So I really want to, I have written down, I shared this the other day actually on our live call, but I just wanted to share it again in case any of you missed this, because I feel like it was really helpful for me, and it's a good thing for you guys to think about. So when you're thinking about, when you have this vision that you've created for yourself, right? And you haven't haven't given yourself any limits when you've created it, then you're going to sit down and you're going to think about your goals. So the 5 things that you need to do for this, this is what, our corporate trainer prompted us to do the other day, which she said, number 1 is to recap and reflect. And you'll hear me use the word reflect a lot, because I believe reflection is incredibly important. And I think it's great if you get in the habit of reflecting on your past week every single Sunday before you head into a new week. But recapping and reflecting. Number 2 is setting fewer goals. And this is one that I struggle with because I like to set all these crazy big goals and make these super long to-do lists and overwhelm myself sometimes. And she said something along the lines of, if you're not actually achieving more than 3 of 10 goals that you're setting too many. So you need to kind of, really pick and choose intentionally of what the goals are that you're setting, if they're most important for moving you forward towards those goals and towards that vision, and kind of cut out the busy work, the distractions, the things that aren't serving you, the things that aren't helping you move forward. And that takes you being really honest with yourself about where you're wasting time or doing things that aren't really helping you, right? The number 3 part is, she called it making them yours, making your goals your own. And I like to prefer to say that being true to you when you're setting your goals, because I know a lot of times for me, when I was a newer diamond coach, that I would look around to other people and I would see like, oh, look at this goal she has, or like she wants to accomplish this, or, whatever. And I would look around and I would think like, maybe I should be doing that, or maybe I should do this. And you kind of start to get all jumbled in terms of what you really should be doing. And I can even explain to you now that in the wall, in the 5-star and above page, there is literally so many things that go on in that page every day that when I go in there, I start to get squirrel brain where I'm like, I need to make this, I need to do that, I have to do this. And I have to back down and say, what honors me? What is true to me right now? What do I need to do for myself to move forward towards my mission and my vision and the things that are important to me? But I want to make sure that when you guys are thinking about your goals, that they are true to you and that they honor you and what you're moving forward towards. The next thing is getting clarity, and creating a vision board should help you have that clarity of why these goals are important to you, so that you are emotionally tied to actually making them happen with that sense of urgency that you're giving yourself by setting time frames on your goals. And then the last part is writing them down. And she gave the statistic that you are 35.9% more likely to achieve your goals if you have written them down. So I personally have my goals written down on a sheet of paper, and I like to go through every 3 months and kind of reevaluate and, fill in things that have been done and change things that need to be changed, and reflect again. So what I'm gonna suggest that you guys do is that you think about your goals, like where you want to be a year from now, 12 months from now. And then instead of trying to drive yourself crazy, of thinking about the whole year as a sum, because when you think that way, it's really easy to be like, well, December is 12 months away. Like, I have a really long time to get to all these things, right? But that is not going to drive you to push forward and show up every single day with a sense of urgency, because goals take time. Whether it's, helping 20 people with their health and fitness goals, or it's bringing 10 new coaches onto your team this year, or it's hitting 2-star diamond to get to new leadership, or if you're going all in and you want to be a 5-star diamond coach with an elite team, I don't want you to ever underestimate that things like that take time. And a good thing for me to think about is how long that it's actually taken me to achieve certain things, because I was kind of naive in a sense, as a newer coach, in terms of how long things were going to take. Or you don't expect unexpecteds to happen, or you don't expect that people are going to quit, or you don't expect that you're going to fail at certain things, or things aren't going to work out the way that you want them to. So I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm just saying to be realistic, that when you're setting your goals, I want you to know that if you want to actually make those happen, then you need to start now. You need to start today. You need to wake up tomorrow and, think about those visions and think about those goals, and what can you do today, and what can you do tomorrow, and what can you do every single day of every single week this year to get yourself to that end destination for this year. So what we did was that we broke down just our 90-day goals. Your goals for the next 90 days. So I need to look at a calendar, but 90 days from now, let's say, I have to look and see when the last quarter ends. But if you look at a calendar and you look 90 days from now, I'm going to click on this. Let's just say by, because we're already 11 days into the new year. I want to break this down to where you think about the 90-day goal, and then you're going to break this down into 30-day increments. So you have how many days in January? You have 20 days in this month left, right? So what do you want to accomplish by January 31st? What do you want to accomplish by February 29th? And then again, what do you want to accomplish by March 31st? So some of you have said, I want to be a diamond by a specific date in March, or I want to, be a 2-star diamond by a specific time. I want to help you, I guess, understand that you can break this down into what are the daily behaviors that you need to do to actually get yourselves to those things. Knowing in mind that those are moving you slightly and ever so slowly and compounding you towards those bigger visions. So I'm just going to take somebody's goals. For example, I'm going to take, let's see, who's the lucky one? Okay, I'm going to take Nicole Shepler. So she said her goal is Success Club 10 monthly, diamond by March 15th, and part-time at her job. So the only one that is kind of left up to negotiation, and like I said, these are things that you need to discuss with your upline, and that's something I will discuss with Nicole. But for Success Club 10, how can you break that down? You can either break it down like you need to be helping one person a week plus one somewhere in there, or what I personally have learned to do that works best, because as you're starting to grow a team and as you're starting to lead and mentor other people, it's not only important, number one, to make sure you're hitting your personal business goals, but number two, ensure that you are leading for example, so that when people do start to join your team, they know that they're capable of doing those things as well, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and suggest that all of you, but Nikki, that you work to hit that Success Club goal in the first 2 weeks of the month, because that is absolutely doable if you're inviting every single day and you start a challenge group, let's say the third Monday of every single month, and you start inviting to that, in the last week of the month and in the first 2 weeks of the month, you're heavy on inviting to that challenge group and you help 5 people get in there and hit that goal, that's one less thing for you to think about, so that you have more time and energy to spend on really helping your challengers get transformations, helping them through that process of change. And then you have more time to work on other things in your business that you're focused on. And in terms of a diamond goal, I always personally suggest that you pull up your Coach Online office, and you look in your sponsorship drill down and you print out the diamond tracker that we have in the files of the team page, and you look at all those bubbles and you fill in where you have challengers that you've helped so far. So you have, let's say, 2 on one side and 3 on the other. So what do you have left that you need to make happen to get yourself to that goal of diamond? So you could say that I have 2 more people that I need to help on one leg. I have 1 more person I need to help on the other. And then if I have one challenger that has lost, 10 pounds, she feels really energetic. She's really excited about this. Her friends start to notice. Her mom starts to notice. People are starting to ask what she's doing. And you say to her, you've been really active in our challenge group. You're seeing amazing results. Have you ever considered coaching? Or have you ever considered sharing this with your friends or with your family? Because I truly believe that you have the ability to impact other people with your journey and with your story, because that is true. And if, there's somebody that says like, you really think I'd be a great coach? That sounds awesome. That's somebody that you can help 2 people. And the same with your other leg. Or it's where you can sign up your spouse. And once you have hit Success Club for the month, you can help, put people underneath your spouse. So there's simple ways to break these things down to what you can be doing in that week. And it really all goes back to the vital behaviors and the vital process, because I am a firm believer that if you are doing those vital behaviors and you are insanely consistent with them, that is what it takes to hit any large goal. And so I'm going to throw this in there for you guys, because I think a lot of times that newer coaches especially get caught up thinking like, God, like I'm an emerald. I can't foresee how I'm ever going to get to diamond, or how I'm ever going to help, other find people that want to run this business with me, or build a team, or get to 2-star, or whatever. And I want you guys to understand that this business is so insanely simple. It is simple. It is us that often overcomplicate it. And also you have the aspect of working with different personalities and different people's goals and all those kinds of things that come into play. But if you can share your story and be committed to your journey, and you can share that openly and bravely and authentically on social media, and you can inspire people, and you can motivate people, and you can move people to desire that positive change for themselves. And then you can help someone. If you know how to help one person get started on their own journey and lead them through that process to develop that belief for themselves, and you can then transition them into talking about the coaching opportunity and why you're doing this as a coach, that you can do anything in this business. If you can do that simple, vital process, there is literally no holds barred on what you're able of accomplishing in this. It's just duplicating it over and over and over, and finding the people who really want this and believe in it, like you do. So, and then Nicole, with your goal of wanting to be part-time with your job, that is something where we kind of have to sit down and map out what it is that you want or need to be making in terms of income to actually make something like that a reality, and base your goals off of that. So I don't know if that's helpful to you guys. I'm just kind of trying to give you scenarios of how you can break your goals down into smaller bite-sized pieces of what you need to do every day. But I just really want to nail in that the things that you show up and that you do every day that a lot of times you feel like don't really make that big of a difference. Like you reached out and you had 5 new conversations today, or you shared something really vulnerable on social media. Or you had a really cool conversation with a girl that's, considering being a coach on your team. Like all of those little choices and those little habits matter. And they compound to something so much greater, because when you're doing them day in and day out and day in and day out, that is how you start to make a bigger impact and hit bigger goals and find people who want to do what you do. So does anybody have any questions? Because I just have one more thing that I want to share, and then we can call it a night since it's getting close to 10.
Speaking about finding people, because that's like my biggest thing. Like I'm not confident with sharing. How many times did you ask Kelly to do this before? That'd be a good example.
We actually did, I don't know, at some point last year had a call with a bunch of my coaches on it that like were people that had said no to me forever. And it was really funny because I think, Megan said no to me for, I don't even know what, like a year and a half, I guess, 2. Everybody needs, time to develop the belief for themselves. So don't take it personally, but Kelly.
Well, I'm just saying, like, did you, like, for me, a lot of people, I don't want to get them turned off that they're just like not, they'll be like, oh, I don't want to read that message from that girl. I mean, and I'm usually not like that, but I feel like there are a few people like, I'm still new. I'm still like the Facebook feed. Like they're probably like, who's this girl? When's she gonna stop coaching? So they're probably like, and I get that with MLM. So just want to be like tasteful.
I 100% agree with the whole tasteful thing. And I really believe that's about your wording and your conversations. Like if you're all out there, like, I need you to join my team, like you need to do this with me, like that's icky. If you're continuously showing why it's so important to you, why you love it so much, and you're relaying that in your messages with people and not in a way where it's pressuring, I feel like if it's meant to be for people, they're going to come around eventually. And I can say with Kelly, for example, Kelly was is Kelly not on anymore? Kelly was one of my best friends in high school. And, we had disconnected for a period of years because lives got busy and it just, it was what it was. And we always, got in contact once in a while, rarely. And when I started coaching, I think it was one of those things where I kind of like jumped down her throat and was like, I'm so excited about this and you need to do it with me and it would be perfect because I know you like to travel and yada, yada. And she would kind of like write back, like, she might be kind of interested, and then she would disappear and she would just stop responding and she would go MIA, and then like we'd talk again a couple weeks later, and that literally went on for months. Like I would invite her to a sneak peek, I would invite her to a challenge group, I would just check in and say, hey, like, miss you, how's life, how's your kids, whatever. And it wasn't until she was pregnant with Luna, she made a post about like eating a donut or something and like having cravings. I like reached out and I was like, I just really want to help you. Like this would be so beneficial to you. And that was when she finally said yes. And it was really because she had the desire to be able to stay home with her kids. So I guess what I'm getting at is that you can say all of the perfect things to the wrong person and they're not going to want anything to do with you. And you can say all of the wrong things to the right person. And if it's something that they, can connect to, they're eventually going to say yes and come around. But like, I'm a firm believer in that you need to figure out, kind of what it is why coaching would benefit them, because that's different for everybody. Like, do they need fulfillment? Do they need extra income? Like, do they need a community of positive, friends to be a part of? Like, there are so many different aspects of coaching, of why it could interest a certain person. And I feel like if you just continue to build those relationships and get to know people, and why it could benefit them, you know, then it becomes less of you trying to convince them, and it's more of you sharing with your heart and your experience of why it's helped you in certain instances and why you feel it could be so beneficial to them. Does that help? Sorry.
Yes. I mean, there are a few people that there's one that she's like a dietitian, and she was actually curious about like how we run challenge groups and platforms and how that whole the whole dietitian nutritionist world is so behind the times and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, you'd be able to reach so many people and that could be your thing. So I just sent her the thing about Liz's. But I think with her, you know, she might come around. She already knows beach, but she used to do the workouts. Like, so it's more about, does she want to take her career in a different direction type thing, I think.
And I think too that it's also important to note that people are coming from different perspectives than we do. Like, if you think back to prior to you being a coach, like prior to you coming into the community of Beachbody and knowing how our challenge groups work and what our team is like and all of those things, like what was your, you know, thought about Beachbody? Because more often than not, a lot of us had preconceived notions and like fears and worries of what this was and what it wasn't, that most are not valid, right? But because there is a lot of people out there that do network marketing, they don't do it in a classy way, and they're very salesy about it, and they're just, you know, they don't really have the purpose and the heart like we do. I think that we're combating that a little bit sometimes, and we have to really show our hearts and why we love it and why we believe in it so much to kind of help people get over, you know, some of the preconceived notions that they have that we're just those people. You know what I mean? Does anybody else have questions? Her Snapchat video was so cute.
This isn't a question per se, but a lot of my challengers in the group were reaching out to me, especially at the end of December, asking how they can set goals and how they can reach their goals better because they didn't do so well their first round or second round or whatever round they were on. And so I'm doing the Best Year Ever with Joe. It's a Darren Hardy thing. And it's all about having a year goal, but then breaking that down and sticking to it monthly.
Yep.
So I've put together a super simple little worksheet that I put in our challenge group. I don't know if anyone's using it, but if you guys want, I can share that on the page or share the link. I'm not sure. It's a Google Doc, but I'm sure you can figure out how to copy it and make it your own. It was just really quick. I threw it together, but
I would love that. It's funny that you mentioned.
Thank you. Yeah.
That you mentioned that book, because somebody actually just mentioned that to me last week, and I just ordered it.
And Joe's work does it, and so he did it last year, and I thought he was crazy because I was not into it.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing it with him. So there you go.
Foot in mouth. You had to find a reason that it was important for you to do, right?
What was the book you mentioned earlier? The 21 Laws?
The 21 Laws of Irrefutable Leadership, but
Okay.
I would suggest the workbook edition, because it has like a quiz in there in the beginning part of it for you to be able to go through and see like what instances that you're really good at, your strengths, and what areas you need to grow in. And then it has like little sections at the end of each chapter where you can actually write in like things that you want to work on or reflections that you've had.
All right. Give me that last word again. I'm sorry. I'm like brain dead. It's been a really long day.
Here, I'll type it in the comments.
All right. Thank you. The kids have been off the chain today.
Oh, trust us. That's one thing about our team that we understand.
Well, they were supposed to go back to school today, but it got canceled again. So they go back tomorrow. Thank goodness.
We just got off 2 week vacation break, and Declan has no school Friday or Monday. Don't know how.
Yep. So they'll go back tomorrow. They'll go Friday. Then they're off Monday. They'll go Tuesday, Wednesday. Then they're off Thursday, Friday.
Don't you
Like,
love we pay for all this and they never in school? Yeah.
So we're year round up here in North Carolina. So like they've been out of school for like 3 weeks. And I'm like, I love you, but like I need you to go back to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm and my husband's in Florida right now, so
Hang on. Close. Ashley's rolling her eyes up there. She's like, I don't know nothing about that, and I don't want to do that.
I'll stick with
Yes.
the dog for now.
I am highly outnumbered around here. Like 5-1.
So is everybody on the team inviting to Liz's call, her coaching call tomorrow night? Is
Yeah,
that
if you guys missed that, Liz is doing a webinar tomorrow night that you can invite to about the coaching opportunity. I personally, I always invite to those, even though I still, I run sneak peeks that we've created for the team. But I think that anything that you can get people into, because sometimes it takes them hearing it from a different perspective. I understand the whole aspect of like they're not hearing directly from you, so it's not as powerful. But especially if you're newer and you're not really confident about talking about the coaching opportunity or what the potential of it is, that things like that can be really helpful for people to
8:30.
the actual potential of it. So
That's 8:30.
yes,
Okay, thanks.
on her like page?
it's usually a YouTube link. So they'll just like what I personally usually do is I write a message to them specifically sharing like, hey, we have this thing going on tonight. And then I'll just copy paste the link into the actual message, the personal message to them, instead of saying like, hey, you should go over to this page and go look, like give it to them. Say like, here is where you can get on.
I thought she said she was going to go live.
She might, now that that's a feature. She used to
Yeah.
do a YouTube
Okay.
link.
Just
but-
because I don't want to send someone the wrong thing and then again have them not go because 2 extra clicks is 2 clicks too much for some.
yeah.
Yeah, she's going live, so you
Okay.
just send them to her page.
Well, then you could just attach the link to her page where she's going to go live at. So yes, that is a great opportunity and tool to use for sure. And all of these things, like I would love if you guys would come up with a list of topics, or I can just post a poll in the team page. I've done this before, but I obviously have a million kind of, topics and content and things that I can share on team calls, but I would really, really, really love to hear from you guys what it is that you feel like certain aspects you want to dive deeper into, things you want to learn, things you want to learn how to talk about or how to share or how to do, so that I can, ensure that I'm planning team calls on that content, but also getting more guest speakers on the calls that are going to be talking about those things, because I think sometimes it's helpful for you to hear from other people versus just from me. So next week, actually, something that a lot of coaches have been asking for, I'm going to have guest speakers on to talk about spouse support, to talk about working together and making this, a partnership business. And if they're not working the business with you, of how they can support you while you're building a business, because a lot of times that's, kind of a struggle for some people's spouses to get on board with the time they're putting in and the sacrifices that they're making, and helping them see that bigger vision of why you're doing this and why it's important to you. So we're going to have that as a call next week. And then the week after that is the 25th, which is the week of our leadership retreat. So we're not going to have a team call that Wednesday, but I do have a couple of guest speakers that are going to be Zooming in while we're at the retreat. So I'm going to live stream those calls to the team page for you guys, so you can watch them whenever you want. So, but I will post 2 things. I'm going to write this down. In the team page tomorrow, I'm going to post a prompt so that whenever you guys make your vision boards and, you know, lay out your 90-day goals, that you can share those in the comments of that post. And I'm also going to make a post to prompt you guys to share what it is you would like to learn about most in the next couple months of team calls, because I'm really wanting to plan them out and plan the content ahead of time so that I'm ensuring that I'm adding the most value to really help you guys with what you want to learn. So, is there any other questions?
I have a couple of comments about that.
Yeah.
I'd love more ideas on organization, on how to like efficiently run my business. So organization is one thing, and then challenge group content to keep things motivating and fresh and comprehensive, to feel like I'm really adding value as a coach.
Okay, so the first thing, the time management thing, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy is a really, really, really good book. I, by nature, was always a procrastinator and a time waster and an overanalyzer and all of those not so great time management habits. So that book was really, really helpful to me to, I guess, learn how to compartmentalize time and kind of break down the things that are of highest priority to you, to get those things done first. It was reading that book that made me get into the habit of making daily to-do lists, because I live by to-do lists every single day. I make one every single morning, and I put, you know, the top 5 things on there of highest priority. And then, you know, other things that I put on there are things that need to be kind of done within the week. I also think it's a important thing to note that when you're talking about time management, cutting out distractions. And given that we have kids and that you have babies at home, you know, that's a distraction that we can't really get rid of, right? So learning to work around that, and kind of, I know for me that personal development and really keeping my mindset right helps me kind of combat that disfocus when your kids are crazy, or there's, you know, a million things they need snacks, you need to get up a million times. But like, what I'm saying is, if you can find when you're sitting down to work your business, like, don't be checking notifications. Like, don't, you know, you go, sometimes this is a habit that I had to really like work hard, and it's something I still have to gut check myself with sometimes. Is like, when you're doing a power hour, right, you have your Facebook open, we work on social media, so sometimes you'll go and like you'll send some friend requests, and then you see a notification pop up, and you go look, and you're distracted for 5 minutes, and then you go back to your inbox and you respond to a message, and you have a conversation going, and then you see something pop up, and then you're scrolling on your news feed and you're looking at a picture. Like, really being focused. And if that means that you need to do timed power hours, or if you need to get the news feed eradicator where it literally blocks off your news feed and puts a quote on there for you. But I think it's important that when you are sitting down, that you have a to-do list of what you need to be doing, so that you have some kind of a focused direction of the action that you're taking. But also being mindful of, is there things that are distracting you and therefore not serving you wisely with the time that you are working, if that makes sense. That's why you love the Challenge Tracker app. Yeah, it definitely helps you not be on social media as much. And then with challenge groups, I have old challenge group guides in the team page. There is also in our Coach Online office, under, if I want to say business and training, I'll have to look at which tab it is. Under sales and marketing, and then challenge group tools, or product toolkits, it all goes to the same place. But you can literally go in there, and it has samples of posts that you can be making that you can kind of customize and make your own. I used those for a long time and just kind of added my own value to them. Kelly and I actually created a really awesome challenge group outline. I don't even know, like a month and a half ago now, but it's just been so crazy that it's not been a priority at the top of my list to cut out a chunk of time to get that done yet. So we've been kind of making it as we go along with running groups. But I personally think that a really good way to think about how to add value into your challenge groups is to sit down and think about, like, when you're on your journey as a challenger, what was most helpful to you to see? Like, was it tough love? Was it, information about like drinking more water, or like reminders of simple prompts of like how you can change your habits? Or was it motivational quotes or prompts of like, how do you shift your mindset to really being in a good place? Or is it things talking about, progress over perfection? Because so many people, they have one slip up and then they totally fall off track and they feel like failures and they beat themselves up. Like, you have to kind of think in terms of like, what is most helpful in terms of creating healthier habits, but also what is the mindset and the emotions that are going on behind those habits. Because I think if you can cover those kinds of things, and then also be giving examples of things like recipes, that you're adding great value. And I don't know if that's really helpful, but Kelly and I are working on getting that bigger challenge group guide done, because what we did was we broke it down into sections of nutrition and of fitness and of mindset and of, habits, and really kind of dug deeper into the emotional side of some of those things. So you're in our challenge group right now. You're in our challenge tracker app. So you can go in there and you can see the posts that I have scheduled for that group right now, because I scheduled them all today.
I think that I find that your posts are awesome, actually. I love reading them, but I feel like people are shy and they don't chime in, and there's not a lot of discussion, and it's like great information, but it's not engaging people for some reason. And I remember being a challenger, and I remember like opening up the group, and it's like pictures of people's selfies and pictures of Shakeology and pictures of food. And it was like the same thing every day. And I did it for like a month or two. And then I was like, eh. And what kept me going was like my conversations with you, really, was like the biggest driver. And I've thought about other things like doing Zoom calls and trying to get people more like engaged. Because when we do these calls, like, now I'm a coach, so I feel like this is my team. I can see my team here, and I'm really engaged. And I'm like, I feel like I know you, and I'm like really like when I'm not on these calls, I miss you guys, And I would love to like but really like
bring that into challenge groups, yeah,
exactly, like bring my challengers, like treat my challengers like my coaches, basically, and then eventually maybe they'll start coaching. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's what we have Stephanie doing a thing right now. That's like an accountability post where like you tag people in it. And I know that helps with interaction, but in terms of like, you can do whatever you want in challenge groups. If you want to post a prompt and say like, hey, let's do a plank challenge. Like, I've seen coaches do really creative things that kind of get people out of their comfort zones and get them excited and get them interacting. In terms of if you want to commit to making videos or having Zoom chats with your challengers, you're more than welcome to do those types of things as well.
When I was talking about organization, I feel like this is part of it. Like, I'm trying to like wrap my head around what I want my business and what I want, like how I want to run all of this. But right now it's like all these ideas. And then I've got the week and it's busy and I'm like, wait, what was my idea? It's very
you need a dump list. You need to make a dump list. Like I have a section, like the notes section of my phone. Like there's literally like 370,000 notes in my phone. Whether it's like quotes I find or it's ideas I have or it's things I want to implement. Like when you have those things pop into your head, either write them down on a sheet of paper or put them in the note section of your phone, because if you don't, you forget them. And if they're just in your head all the time, you're always going to feel jumbled. So I actually have that on my to-do list for tomorrow, is to make a master dump list of all of the projects and things that I want to make, because I'm always thinking I need to revamp this and I need to change this and make a video for that, and there's always a million ideas. Like, that never goes away, because if you're creative and you're inspired and you're finding joy in what you do, you're always going to be finding, you know, ideas and things that you want to do to better your business or better yourself as a coach. So just make sure that you're writing those things down. And then I think that it's important to note that, you know, your business behaviors need to come before all other things, because otherwise you don't have a business. You know what I mean? Like, that has to be a priority before all of the fun stuff, I guess, because otherwise your business is not going to continue to grow and you're not going to have people to help. And then, you know, once you've taken care of that part of the day, if you have an extra half an hour or an hour, do those fun projects, do those things that give you joy and make you feel inspired and passionate, and, you know, putting extra energy into things like that. She disappeared. Thanks, Megan. All right, guys. Well, does anybody have other questions? Because I don't want to keep you here till midnight. Was this helpful? Like, really, honestly, like, okay, so I'm just going to be straight up right now, and there's not even a lot of you on here anymore, but I, as a leader, like, I want you to be brutally honest with what you need from me. Like, I am fully okay with you giving me constructive criticism of what you need, of if it's helpful, of what I can do better, of things that you need. Because that is my ultimate desire, to be, you know, helpful to you in whatever aspects it is you need. And I am not a mind reader, so I always appreciate feedback. Yes. You do need to make the time to make a vision board. It can be something, you know, where like on a Saturday night, you sit down with a glass of wine and get a bunch of magazines and get a, you know, poster board and cut some stuff out and put some things on there. I love personally, I love putting words on there. Like, I resonate so much with words and, you know, the combination of that and pictures, but I just think it's really exciting. And like, I guess going into this year, like, I want to help you guys see the bigger potential in this, that this business is a vehicle to literally help you live any kind of life that you desire. And of course, you have to have the heart to serve and give to other people, and that is your why. That is the mission that we are on as coaches, and that's something we can never forget about. But if you are fully committed with all of your heart to serving people and really helping people transform, and continuously doing that over the course of time, like, commit to be here a year from now, commit to be here from 2 years from now, and 3 years from now. The end of this month is actually my 3-year anniversary as a coach. So like, commit to be here for 3 years now and go all in with this, because your life can literally drastically change. And, you know, as you grow and change, your vision is going to grow and change. And the things that you desire for your life are going to expand greatly, because it's like I talked about, like right now, like wherever you are, there's kind of a lid on certain things. And the more that you grow as a person and feel that purpose and feel inspiration and start to see yourself accomplishing small wins and small goals and things starting to compound, like the greater your potential you see to be, if that makes sense. So stay here, make those vision boards and stick it out and stay consistent. And there's literally nothing too wild that it's not possible. But I really just, it's on my heart to really, really help you, that, you know, the ones of you that really want to see those things happen in your life. It's, you know, a big compelling thing for me to actually help you make those happen this year. So
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Do you believe I'm talking? I don't talk very much.
No.
I know. Has anybody had any problems recently? Like I checked my Coach Online office and they took away 90 volume points from me. I've been yesterday I spent 2 hours on the phone with Beachbody. Today I was on the phone for an hour. I'm just like, what is going on? I mean, I've had so many problems having things shipped down here. Well, we're in the island, sorry to brag because you're all freezing. But I'm cold too. Oh, you're warm, yeah, but kind of. It's chilly there too, I bet, right?
I don't know, like 47 maybe. I don't think it's
Oh my
chilly. I
God.
don't know. Nicole
It's like
would probably
70
know
something
that.
here and I'm freezing. Oh
It's
my God.
78 in my house because I'm next to the wood burning stove. It's right outside my office.
I can't take like cold.
Hey,
But I've had,
what was your 90 PV return for? Was
well, I have a bunch of people that their shipments haven't shown up. So I called and they were reshipping stuff. So with the reshipment, they were crediting them for the problem. Well, they decided to credit me too, but with points. And I'm like, what is this? And so they're giving them back to me. But I'm like, if I didn't look, and I'm new, I mean, I don't know everything. So if I didn't pay attention, I'd be screwed. And I've had that happen. Then I'm on my online office and one of my guys who's a coach was gone off of my list. I'm like, where's Eddie? They changed my shake flavor. Somebody pulled it out of their butt to vegan chocolate. I'm like, where in my history do you see vegan chocolate? I get chocolate and the barista pack to hand out. They're like, I'm so sorry. I understand your problem. And I'm like, okay, I understand you understand, but something like there are so many problems. I need things fixed. Am I the only one that has this stuff? I guess so by the look.
I would say that you probably, where you live definitely has a
I
factor
know.
to that.
It's not
But
paradise.
I mean, it's not an excuse for it. And I can say that in my 3 years as a coach, it's seldom that I've had issues like that. It does happen once in a while. It's a big company with a lot of, things going on and a lot of shipments coming out of the warehouse, and it's not an excuse by any means. But when you do have something happen like that, I would suggest that you
to a supervisor.